Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the console league for Smite. My name is Nightfall. Joining me today is gonna be Timmy. How you doing, Timmy?
I'm doing pretty alright. We saw on Monday night, we saw the other four teams duke it out, but now we've got the remaining of this week. It's going to be Senix versus Tilt coming up.
Yeah, we saw Incept was able to go 2-0, and so was Aragon. And pretty exciting games, to be honest. A few strange builds, but exciting
Yeah, a
nonetheless.
few strange builds, particularly a Bakasura that's
Yeah,
comes to memory.
yeah, that one was a bit interesting. But we're gonna head straight into picking bands here, guys. I'm quite excited to see how this goes, to be honest. I haven't seen too much of the console league other than what we saw on Monday, and it seemed like um, just AoE in favor.
AoE naturally will be in favor, typically because you gotta remember that this is not the same as PC. Everyone here is playing with consoles, so precision is not quite as accurate. Kepri and Alquan gonna get banned out, sign off. But yeah, usually you want to look at people who have a lot of AoE, just because it makes it easier to hit everything.
Yeah, definitely. We see Mercury out. Interesting. A lot of people wanted him to come back into the meta not too recently, and now he's getting banned away. Do you think that's a target ban instead?
It's hard to tell because we haven't really seen enough of these teams to really say like this is a target ban, this is just a general meta sort of ban. Mercury would be fairly viable at this point in time, considering that there's so many items with movement speed, especially things like Wind Demon. Raijin gonna be the last ban out of this the first round of bans, and we're gonna see Athena, very highly regarded so far throughout this week.
Yeah, of course, super strong. I'd consider has been an A plus or S tier for the past year or since she was
Oh,
released,
longer.
only because of that taunt and the global presence, which she is so good at, as well as the wave pressure as well. Scylla and Odin picked up here for Tilt.
Yes, now remember this is 3.8 at the current moment of this game being played. Scylla, normally you think like, okay, Scylla, you have to be very precise, especially for the Sikkim, but she's been doing incredibly well. If you're able to get that Sikkim Crush combo off, you do an immense amount of damage. However, a Giannis can do more damage if you land the Portal Unstable Vortex combo. That's going to be picked up alongside with a Guan Yu.
And what I've noticed is that Xbox like to pick up late game gods as their games go a lot later. It just seems like
I
an,
love
an
that.
interesting trend. Hou Yi is our next pickup as well for Tilt.
Or another sort of large AOE sort of god, especially with the Sunbreaker, with a lot given a very good zoning sort of tool. Medusa banned out, very favorable in the Xbox because you can't look away. And if you look at Medusa when the Petrify comes out, you get turned to stone, being stunned out.
Yeah, they just wanted to stop that combo with Athena, stopping all duo lane dominance from Senix. Thor is the next one, of course, global pressure. Early game has got good CC as well as power, and I'm interested to see this next ban. What do you reckon it will be, Timmy?
It's hard to
Oh,
tell
Helix.
because Tilt have banned out. There we go. I was about to say Tilt have banned out something from every single role, but they are going to be banning out the Willish. Makes sense because the Gravity Surge does very well when there's an Odin. I mean, Odin jumps in, he's got the Bird Bomb. You can pull him down with the Gravity
Yeah.
Surge, and it stops the Raven Shaft from actually detonating when he lands down. Kumbhakana going to get banned out. Very strong with the crowd control. Makes it very, very easy to stop people in that tracks and reduce their movement speed and attack speed after they get woken up.
Gib is the next pickup. That Gib shield is so strong. We saw it on PC. Who was it? Tomahawk was able to save so many people. They had the Cataclysm as well for the initiation, the disengage. Just Gib overall, such a strong pick, and I'm interested to see how Tilt are able to play with that one. Hunbats is the next one, followed by Shibalonke.
Yeah, Shibalonke is going to be very strong in late game, like you mentioned. Late game, I love late game lineups because typically games do end up going late to the very late game, and once you get to that point, if you don't have that late game comp, very hard to deal with. Naja going to be the next pickup, the final pickup for Tilts. But again, I want to go back to the Geb. The Stone Shield is massive. It allows you to stay very dominant in the lane, cleansing out the confounds, taunts, crowd control. We're going to go into game here in just a moment. It's going to be Senix versus Tilt, game number 1.
It will be indeed. Super excited to see how it goes. So that will be it's Senix on the blue side, isn't it?
It is indeed.
It
Tilt
is.
is on the
Okay.
right.
It's very difficult to tell, but in the support role, we've got Ryol on Athena. In the jungle, we have got Humis as Hunbats. In the mid lane is going to be I said this just before we went live. Dilchu. And then in the other lane we got Shulster 11, and then the 80 carry will be V Skuxy.
And on the right side of your spectator UI, top side of the mini-map, we have Tilt. In the solo lane is going to be Super Rocketeer playing as the Odin. As in Pegasus is going to be running in the jungle as the Naja. X-Kill is going to be the Scylla in the mid lane, and your dual lane is comprised of the Russian Ranga and Shade Well Made as Geb and Hoi.
And right off the bat we see standard starts, I mean straight off standard red start for the mid camp and speed for the jungler. I mean nothing out of the ordinary in builds either.
No, nothing out of the ordinary. Both teams, normally when you see an invade, it comes on the right-hand side in the solo lane jungle area. Both Naja and Humbats, they want to wait until level 5 because levels 1 to 4, their abilities are fairly lackluster, and once they hit 5, they really get that power spike with the Fear No Evil and the Windfire Wheels. Odin is pretty notorious for being a monster early game, but when you're at level 1, you cannot have the full Bird Bomb, which is what he really relies on, both the Lunge and the Raven Shouts.
It almost looked like Chu was about to get caught out there as the rotation from Naja and Odin came through for the fire elementals, but he was just able to stay out of vision in that mid-camp area, and he wasn't picked off. He took quite a lot of damage as well.
Even if he did get spotted out, he can use the portal to really try and get away to, just get away from the group with the portal. Just allowed to get a lot of distance and in a way which can't be followed.
Rocketeer jumping in on quite low age, but Shulster is not going to be able to do anything about it. Rocketeer playing with his life here in the solo lane.
He can be fairly quick with clearing the wave, so long as Shulster isn't around and holding onto that Talos Cell to do a lot of damage, because as soon as you use the Raven Shout to jump in and clear the wave, you're very vulnerable. You have practically nothing to protect yourself.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the jungler and mid laner of the red team just back, or did they go for the back camps? Because it looked like they recalled. There's a sash onto whom he's not going to deal too much damage though.
Yeah, not going to be able to do too much damage. I wasn't quite looking at the mid lane and jungler of Tilt. I think they may have done a back camp. You can see the timers there, and the back camps have a fairly quick respawn, so it's hard to tell exactly when they were done.
Yeah. Okay, so solo lane is pretty aggressive, and Rocketeer is falling behind early as an Odin. What do you think of that against a Guan Yu, considering the wave clear that Odin has?
Eventually, Odin is just going to be able to do absolutely nothing and clear the wave. And then if he wants to fight, he has to use that Ring of Spears to stop the healing from the Conviction. He may need some help from Dozen Pegasus. As we can see here, the Armulus Sash misses the Windfire Wheels, goes straight into the wall, but there's the Ring of Spears catching the cavalry charge perfectly.
And he's getting the damage off. There's the jump. Space and time comes through. Rocketeer taken extremely low. Can Shulster find the kill? No, he doesn't have the dash damage.
Pegasus.
Rocketeer gets away. Pegasus is extremely low as well. There's the Hunbat's jump, and Humis is able to pick up first blood as the Scylla is forced to run away, hit by the unstable vortex, down into the portal, and basic attacked by Rhyhole is able to get the second kill for Senix.
And now they're going to be taking up the jungle on this right-hand side, really try and cripple Tilt a little bit further, get a little something after those kills, which is something incredibly important. We saw last time, I believe it was Skyfire versus... Examped, where Skyfire would do something, get some kills, but then they don't do anything afterwards and really suffer for them. Chu in the mid lane, getting hit with the Armillion Sash, but returns the favor with a unstable Vortex, just really showing his dominance.
Huge damage from that unstable Vortex, and that's going to force the Naja to recall. In the duo lane, Shivalanka gets caught out. He's CC immune through the Cataclysm. Is he able to get away? He's low on mana, and yes, Tilt just back off.
Yeah, they weren't able to catch the Shivalanka, so they'll be able to get out fairly easily. Very strong hunter to have.
Traveler's Shoes picked up for the game, so he's able to increase his gold income as well as his movement ability to get around the map and perform those ganks much faster.
Yeah, the Traveler's Shoes I really like on Guardians because you don't necessarily need to be having a lot of power. Cooldown is nice, but it's cooldown is nice to have, but it's not vital.
Indeed. Here we go. Actually, we are going to have a little bit of a pause. Yeah, and we are going to continue in just a few moments. Sorry about that. Just a little bit of an unsync resync issue, but here we are back into the game. So, oh, look at that solo lane. Shulster is able to pick up Rocketeer just as we come out of that. That's going to be the third kill for Senix. It's not going to put Odin too far behind though, because the mid game of Odin is so strong with instant wave clear.
He kind of starts to fall off more towards that mid game, especially against a Guan Yu. Guan Yu can really very easily clear out the minions a little bit later than Odin, but his later on game is much more prevalent because he has that protection shred. Whereas Odin clears wave pretty much at level 3, level 4, and then just doesn't do much else.
They're going to have to pick up anti-heal for the Guan Yu as well. Who do you think the anti-heal will come from?
I think it will definitely come from Super Rocketeer, simply because he's got that rune of spears. He can go in, he can put down that ultimate, stop the healing whatsoever completely, and then once people start to run away, he can use the curse to extend that period of, anti-healing, or use it beforehand to slow them down and catch them in the cage.
Yeah, they are going to have to kill Guan Yu while he's in the cage, because as soon as that cage comes away, so will the anti-healing, and then the longer the fight goes on, the longer he will stay alive. Blue buff secured. Rocketeer looking to get a bit of damage off. How much will he be able to do? Not too much.
He is going to miss the bird bomb as well. That's also his wave clear gone. And in the mid lane, we can see Russian Ranger gets hit with a portal, but not an unstable vortex to really follow up. So he dodges a little bit of damage there.
He does indeed. It's a 3 versus 3 in a rotation here from Shulster. Actually, no, he decides to cancel that as Athena dashes in, tries to get a 2-man taunt. There he goes up in the Windfire wheels. A lot of damage down on towards him. I'm a Monster secures it. The reset comes out. Can he get a second kill? No, a nice portal and unstable vortex will prevent the Gib from chasing. Scylla puts the Armor Monster into the ground, but that's still a kill for Tilt. Strange decision making from the Athena.
It really is. I mean, I'm getting PTSD from Crossbay and Skyfire. That's exactly the kind of thing that I saw, and I kept calling him out on it. You cannot go against a team when you do not have the rest of your team following you up. Even if you dash in, blink in, you distance yourself from the rest of your team and put yourself in danger and them out of position.
Hunbat's had the ultimate as well, so if he was able to communicate and say, hey, I'm dashing in, I'm going to get a man taunt, fear no evil onto 3 of them, they could have got, they could have returned the kill or at least got 2 more and then not lost the Athena.
The other thing that he could have done was throw out the Sacred Monkey, let it bounce to a god, because then if he uses it again, he can teleport to them, and then use that kind of like his covert way in. We do have a bit of a pause coming out here. We don't quite know exactly how long it is going to be, but I'm going to take this moment to just kind of talk a little bit about this. In particular, I want to look at the mid laners. We see the Doom Wall coming out from Chu, but Xkill has decided to hold off on that. Still has that,
Lost artifact.
That's it. I was thinking of Tiny Trinket. I was like, no, that's lifesteal.
He's going for the movement Spacilla rather than the power which the Giannis has, but Giannis can sacrifice movement speed because of his threshold.
And his portals, because he does get the passage's passive on the portals. Funny enough, he also gives that to the rest of his allies. It's like the only actually taunt coming out on two people.
And the damage is returned, I'd say quite equally there onto Chu and the Hun Bats, but forcing the Scylla to recall is a lot better than getting a bit of damage onto 2 people.
Even if you had to make the mid laners recall, it would be in favor of Senix because Giannis can get to lane so much faster than what a Scylla can, just simply with all the portals and thresholds that he throws down along the way.
Ninja Tabai here for Xbalanque, that is Skuxy. What do you think of Ninja Tabai on a Xbalanque, considering how centric he is?
I don't really like it on Xbalanque because it makes him suffer early on because he doesn't quite have that the raw power. He's got the attack speed, so if he wants to go for a very heavy attack speed build, like not even chin size in his build from this point on, then maybe it might work. But the fact that he's got the golden bow, he wants to be doing more damage per hit, so it translates more into that AoE.
Humiz could come around behind the Hou-Yi, and that's exactly what he's going to do. As I say that, there's the Darkest of Nights coming out. Sunbreaker on the ground. Skuxy stays alive, though. Humiz is able to secure that one. 4th kill for Senix as they start up the Gold Fury here, Timmy.
It's a little bit confusing to some people who saw the Hou-Yi getting stunned out after he landed on the dive bomb, because while you're in that animation, you're considered to be moving, and if you're moving when the Darkest of Nights finishes, you do get stunned. Russian Ranger taunted back in, not going to be receiving any more damage. Stone Shield is going to absorb anything that comes that way. Crush was thrown out, but nothing really followed up on it, and we can just see Rocketeer now stealing away the blue buff.
I like how Humiz used the Fear No Evil to stop the Gib from any steal potential. He was feared, and they were able to secure the Gold Fury. Taking a look at the graphs now, it's going to be 2.6k gold and 2k XP for Senix. And 10 minutes into the game, while it's not a huge lead, it's enough to start a snowball.
It really is. I mean, we see games starting off as snowball with a much lower lead than that, maybe about half, maybe about 1,000 both gold and XP. So it's definitely something that Senix can really sit pretty on, but they need to make something of it. If they just kind of ride it out, Tilt is going to come back on top of it.
What I like about this game is that there's been action in every lane. In the solo lane, we saw Guan solo the Odin, we saw the Xbalanque and the duo lane pick up a kill. Speaking of the solo lane, 3-man gank as the Sash comes out, but the cavalry charge stops anything from coming out there as Chu has DC'd, and we have another pause.
Another pause. Unfortunately, I think that was in favor of Tilt ever so slightly, because there was no ultimates being used to try and catch out I'm really trying hard to say. I'm trying really hard to say it. Like I said to myself, just say it with a really heavy Russian accent, and it should sound okay.
Alrighty. So I'm looking at all the stats now. Player damage, of course, Giannis is at the top. He's hit so many portals, which is actually really, really important. Is those portals to set up the unstable vortex, to set up any other CC to come through from the Athena or the Hun Bats. So Chu has done quite well this early game on Giannis.
I think it's difficult to try and juke and move erratically with the controller to avoid the portals. So Giannis is able to do quite a bit of damage, and once you hit someone with the portal, they fall in the same position that they started off from, so you can line up and time the unstable vortex fairly easily. It doesn't require a lot of fanaticking. I'm
going to need you to hit me with a knowledge bomb. So Hou-Yi has gone Warrior Tabai, and it looks like he's building into Asai. But this Xbalanque has got Ninja Tabai, and he's going into Ikoval, so who wins?
Xbalanque, because Ikoval lets you have practically a 60 power swing. You gain 30 power and you take 30 power away from them. So I don't think that Asai is going to be able to do enough lifesteal to be able to outbox someone with an Ikoval. Especially if you use the branching bowlers on the Xbalanque, it just allows you to get that little bit of extra power. If he does run behind a minion to try and avoid the damage, you get hit with the branching bowlers plus the golden bow. So you're not really winning very much.
Considering that Xbalanque has got no lifesteal, as long as Hou Yi can land a nice stun, and then like one or two basic attacks, and then just keep poking out Xbalanque, I think that Hou Yi should win though.
That is
To
the
me, it's even. It's just depending on the playstyle, but that's exactly how Hunter and different building works, right?
Yeah, that is the only situation where I could see a Hou Yi with this build winning that. If he uses his abilities more, relies on them more, using the stun and the ricochet. The Mark of the Golden Crow, it's not going to be able to do a huge amount because I don't really think he would have it maxed just at this point. If he did have a max, then it'll be a bit more of an even fight, but Ichafel is just such a great boxing item.
Okay, so what about the jungle? Najjar versus the Hunbats. Obviously, the ults are used differently, but how do you see it playing out, considering they're building exactly the same so far?
The Naja is going to be more tricky to pull off. You need a higher skill base to be able to land it, because if you use the Windfire Wheels, when you land, you flip back to your starting position. So if you use the Artillery Sash and point blank ults, when you land down, you were basically telegraphing where you are going to be, and then you are lining yourself up for a world of hurt, from the Unstable Vortex, Telesword, all that. If you do it from a distance, however, then you get yourself in and out very easily without being targetable. The Humbats is going to allow for more team-focused disruption, whereas Naja is going to be able to take a single person, like the Humbats or the Yanis in particular, and just take them out of the fight completely, and then they swing on that.
So who is Najjar's priority here?
Chu. Definitely Chu. He's got the threshold, which allows his team to move faster and the enemy to move slower with the threshold. Plus, he does so much damage, you have to get rid of him.
Interesting. Yeah, it's that mix of utility and damage, isn't it? Rhyhole getting hit with the sash, no follow-up. I think a Sikkim, if that would have landed, he would have been rooted, and then Geb with the knock-up. They could have got a lot of damage off there.
They really could, and one thing you gotta remember is that if you're hit affected with a crowd control, any other crowd control during that duration has a diminishing return, so it doesn't last quite as long. But knockups are exempt from that fact. Knockups just disregard everything.
Even gravity. I wish they disregarded gravity so you fell
If they
slower or
disregarded
something.
gravity, then they would go up in the air and never return.
That would be awesome, dude. Harris, please. We need less gravity.
Oh, God.
So, Breastplate of Valor pick here for the solo lane. Cooldown for Guan Yu, obviously. Oh, there's a Darkest of Nights popped. Nothing gained from it. Sunbreaker as well. So just ult for ult in the duo lane and a bit of trading in damage, but not a lot.
So that allows the rest of Tilt to kind of rotate a bit more aggressively, because now the Darkest of Nights is down, they can go in there and have a successful game without being blinded. But in this dual lane here, we can't really call it a dual lane because the supports haven't really been around very much. That allows the Xbalanque to really outbox the Hou Yi much more easily, considering that the Sunbreaker is gone.
Athena's been roaming a lot, but primarily been in the mid lane, so they're going for a 1-3-1 lane sort of combo here, but it's been returned by Tilt as well. How do you feel about this? I mean, considering the XP difference,
Mid lane is party lane. Like, this is not new in any regard. Like, mid lane is where everything happens. As we can see, the Odin is coming up behind as well. Rocketeer jumping in, lands down on roll, does a little bit of damage, but taunted. There's the Geb shield. It allows you to cleanse the taunt. He steps back away from Portal, which would have made him take so much more damage.
yeah, the setup here from Senix is absolutely insane. They've got Guan, Hun Bats, Giannis, Athena, and Xbalanque. Like, you couldn't ask for more setup and damage mixture in one team composition.
Yeah, Senix is their team composition is very good with, sort of controlling and zoning. Whereas Tilt, they're very much go in, go hard, get the kill, get out sort of thing. Especially with the Najjar. The Scylla as well, you get the monster, you start getting the chain of kills coming off of that, and then you just run rampant.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Like, you've put the strategies like as simple as they can. Like Tilt is go for the kills, but if they don't get the kills, then they kind of lose out because of the way that Senix has built their team.
Easy looking for a gank on this left-hand side. Not gonna really be able to fund anything. He does back off a bit.
Seems as though my client has stopped. I cannot move. I do apologize for this. Carry me to me.
In the mid lane, Russian Rengar has been hit with a couple of attacks, but he walks away fairly unscathed after using the Stone Shield on himself. And not really a whole much else is really going on. Teams are rotating around, trying to look for jungle camps. See in the solo side, Schultz is getting chased down by Rocketeer. Gonna be juking out the bird bomb, and not much damage gonna be exchanged. Taking a look at our graphs, we can see the XP has really fallen back down to an even point, and the gold is about 1,500.
Alright, interesting. So, no gank found there. I mean, it was a...
Jade
the
backed
past 10 minutes, nothing's happened.
No.
I believe Hameezy walked over a ward and like just barely skimmed the ward, and that was enough to self-alert Jake.
So, Guan Yu now pressuring the solo lane. I have returned, thankfully. I'm back in it. But
Hey,
Guan Yu pressuring. How do you find it's in the mid game?
in the mid game between the two teams, I think they're fairly even. Portal coming out onto Russian Rengar. The Gold Fury is being contested, especially from Insect. Fear No Evil coming out, gonna allow Russian Rengar to just walk into the rest of Insects. I'm saying everyone's name wrong.
It's alright, this is done onto the Najar, pulling it back in. The blue team has taken the Gold Fury. How many kills are down? That's only one kill found for Tilt against Senix. Now the Naja is trying to go for Chu. Chu, what can he do? He goes through the wall, the only wall that he could have, but now he's up in the air, and that win by Wills will do it. That was almost a play. 4-man taunt by Ryol, but that's 4 people that are going to demolish you with basic attacks. Oh, he had no follow-up. There was a great taunt. 2 great plays by Senix, but Tilt were able to come out on top of that one.
The recognition of I need to get out of here immediately, and just finding that wall to try and portal out of. That was very quick thinking, but Royal needed to not go back in and just leave him to die.
Yeah, so I think Chu was able to get through the wall. He could have used the portal again, unless it was right off cooldown from getting a banish with it. But I don't know. Tilt played really well there, considering they were behind. Well, Gold Fury was in favor of Senix, and looking at the graphs, actually net loss.
Yeah, net loss. I mean, XP was drastically put in their favor, but I think that Tilt kind of reclaimed the gold, a little bit more as well.
Yeah, it's the gold that they did get is important because it's the mid-game items that they're going after, the really strong ones, the ones after the sustain items or the core ones. Fear No Evil in the mid lane, there's Gib getting hit by that. Cataclysm 4-man, there's a Scylla with a nice 3-man crush, no more follow-up after that. Athena is chasing, not going to find anything else. Odin's here with the cage, he can set up anything he wants, he's gonna jump in. How many will he find? No ultimate down just yet. Oh, he really should have gone for it.
No, he didn't hit anyone with a bird bomb. Chu just got out with the portal. And a little bit of strange play from Russian Rengar, how he just kind of walked into the rest of his team, stayed there. He was hit by the portal, which prolonged his experience at the Senix Hotel.
Rocketeer actually getting hit here. Does he have the taunt? There's a Gib shield to keep him alive a little bit. Through space and time will hit. Another shield from the bird bomb will keep him alive. He jumps over the wall and he is in safety. Now Athena is chasing down the Scylla. Good Sikkim will root both Athena and Guan Yu, and he is able to get away. Beautiful play here to counter all aggression from Senix. There's a Gib shield. Jump in. Will the taunt come out? No, Rhyhole CC to oblivion. And he takes too much tower damage, but Guan Yu has got the heals.
Tilt is in a very dangerous spot here. They're fairly low. 2 members backing now. We see Hamizi blinking in with a Fear No Evil to disrupt the rest of them. I'm a Monster coming out more for the mobility than it is for the damage, but he's trying to look for something. Does hit Shu and does about 50% of his health.
Beautiful there. Was able to get to safety as well as return the damage to force them back, but once again, Schulster with the nice heals. Tilt has to do something about this, otherwise the siege will just be relentless from Senix.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, as I said before, Senix said team composition is more around controlling and zoning, and because they have the conviction heal on the Guan Yu, they can siege as well. Which means if it's not a, blitzkrieg, 5-second fight between both teams, they're not going to lose.
Skuxy is in trouble. Najjar's here. Heavenly Agility popped. No, the sash misses, and that's it. That's it. Thwarted. He should have got a little bit closer. He popped the Heavenly Agility. He could have used the Windfire Wheels, but a little bit of a misplay there.
A little bit of a misplay. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to keep a Najjar away from you, because if a Najjar gets close, especially now that he's got a Deathbringer, very dangerous to really deal with, considering that the crits coming out from a Najjar is more reliable than the Humbats, because Humbats needs to use an ability every time to refresh his passive, which just gives him 30% crit chance. Whereas Najjar can get guaranteed crits on his ultimate and through his Flaming Spear buff.
Yeah, that's really important, is that the sash can crit. The 2 increases your crit chance, and the ultimate, you click or you press a button to get a guaranteed crit. Over here in the solo lane, there's 3 people trying to siege down this turret, as Guan Yu is holding successfully so far.
But in the left-hand side, Scuzzy just losing a complete battle of a box against Shade. I was gonna say if Scuzzy was able to outbox the Hou Yi and try and push out further, he could really finish off that tower, considering that so many people of his Hild were on the right-hand side. But it seems now that with the RC and the chin size, he just does too much damage.
He does indeed. Boxing a Hou Yi is very, very difficult, isn't it? As the Darkest Tonight comes through, can the Gold Fury get stolen? Yes! Till are able to steal it. Windfire Wheels up in the air. Who is it? It was Giannis. Fear No Evil within a cage. I'm a Monster will land. Not too much damage onto Rhyhole. He was the only target in the backline. The DPS coming from the Hou Yi is going down onto Senix. Same with Skuxy, but he's out of mana. He's got no dash. The shield to keep Rocketeer alive. There's the Hou Yi being able to pick up Schulster. That's no more heals left for Senix, as Tilt get a kill and a Gold Fury, and they walk away happy.
Just as I said, Tilt, they've got that burst, kill quick sort of team fight. They come in the Gold Fury, they steal it away, absolute blitzkrieg of a fight, and they wipe out so many members of Senix, force them to go back. They lost. Oh, hello, Shibbolonke.
Skuxy, you're a bit.
He didn't stay.
Interesting. Also interesting that Tilt didn't just straight up kill him.
It is a little bit strange. I mean, everyone was kind of like moving out, moving away. Both people could have really tried to go a little bit further. I don't think he could see Shade nearby to Russian Ranger, so he might have been able to think he could get the kill. Right-hand side, Tier 1 tower is going to be falling thanks to Rocketeer, but he is going to have a monkey approaching. Going to try and steal away this blue buff. We'll see if Hamizi can stop it.
And the favor is returned for Senix. They take away that duo lane Tier 1 tower. And the gold, I think, should be even in, not even, in favor of Tilt. And it is 1,000, but 4,000 XP as well. Wow, that XP is completely different.
It really is. And at the moment, the only level 20 is Shade. I mean, he hasn't completely finished his build. He's got 5 items. Level 20, first level 20 of the game. The highest person on the side of Senix is 19, which is Gutsy, so a lot of farm coming out on this left-hand side of the map.
Yeah, they're just basically playing Farmville here, trying to get to their late game potential as fast as possible. The Gold Furies are definitely helping with that as well. There's a sash onto the Giannis, I think it was. It was. He's up in the air. Will he get taken out? Yes, Gib is able to secure that one with a shockwave. Guan Yu is rotating in as the Sunbreaker was on the ground. Cataclysm does land. Who will be the next fatality in the backline? There is no one, actually. Look, though, someone from Senix was there, but the Xbalanque was able to dash up quite fast forward, and now the tier 2 tower is under siege by Tilt.
3 versus 5 defense. Rin Spear's gonna justify amount of aggression that Tilda pointed out. X-Kill getting a kill with Armor Monster. Second Armor Monster doesn't hit anyone, goes straight on the tower doing nothing. And so far, a fairly successful defense besides losing the support.
Yeah, Guan Yu was still was not taken down there, so the heals will come out, so they can defend a lot longer than what Senix can siege. Although it's a 3v5, there's a sash onto Hunbats, and the Windfire Wheels will miss. He should have gone for Xbalanque. Through space and time will hit 2, but the tower falls, and now Senix is trying to return the favor and kills. There's the Fear No Evil gonna land onto Hunbats. He's taken down extremely low. So is the Najar. Double kill for Chu already. There's a jump in from Hunbats. He gets the crit on to Pegasus there. Now he will be forced to wait in the respawn time. There's a portal through. The jump will keep Rocketeer away from the unstable vortex, but not the cavalry charge. He will fall to the Athena tier 2 tower, now returned again. It's back and forth all the way to me.
4 members of Tilt just fell down, and it's simply because they cannot siege with the composition that they have. Allowed Senix to try and stay in there, poke out, box out, and control the fights as their team comp can do. Tilt, they cannot be seen at a tower. They have to go in, hit and run very hard and fast, because that is when the only time that they can actually get kills.
Indeed, and now the Phoenix is taking a look at the graphs once again, and we saw it went to 3,000 gold because of that tower falling. It's now back 600 in favor of Senix, and now the XP returned as well. I want to take a look at the levels. What is the largest difference? Supports are still extremely low. The mid lane still even. What do you see, Timmy?
Mid lane's even, like you said. The jungle is even. The only difference is the solo lane is 19 to 20. I think the amount of XP difference is just little bits, like half level differences between players. With that push that Senix gave, they gained 2,500 more XP than what Tilt did. Gold Fury is getting looked at by Tilt here. They're not going to go for it. They're just warding it up, try and have a look. I kind of want to say that Tilt needs to not go for these objectives, but rather try and make them look inviting to Senix, and then they ambush them.
Do you reckon Senix could go for a Fire Giant at this point? Or just begin to start baiting, get a little bit of poke damage off, force someone from Tilt back, and then they can go for it with Guan?
If they go for the Fire Giant, they have to, sort of do the Fire Giant dance, because that is what they can do. They need to try and do that, poke out, try and exert their dominance, but they can't commit onto the Fire Giant, because if they're distracted and they exhaust too much onto the Fire Giant, that's when Tilt can come in and clean up.
Yeah, precisely, and then still it can just get I'm a Monster resets for days, get them out, and then get a Phoenix or maybe even the Titan. It's all risky plays here, but look at this. Gold Fury started off by Tilt, and Senix know right away. So here is the Fire Giant getting started off. Gib is here to try to do his best to thwart them, and Tilt is running from the other side of the map trying to do their best. Odin's here, Fear No Evil does go down, and the blue team are able to secure it. Fire Giant for Senix. Hunbats is extremely low, he's forced to run away to me.
Yes, very, sort of smart play coming up from Senix. Recognize that Tilt were going off the Gold Fury, and they have enough damage to be able to do the Fire Giant before they were able to rotate over fast enough. We saw Rocketeer and Ranga come over, as we see, just because Ranga was around the area and Rocketeer had the teleports. But the other three members, your core damage coming out from Xkill, Pegasus, and Shade, they weren't able to get there fast enough and get that drop onto Senix. And they just threw away a Fire Giant because of it.
I want to say that Senix has got a lot better map control and team composition, but mechanically they're not as strong.
I think even if the players were mechanically the same, I think that Tilt just has a more mechanic-heavy team where it's more risk versus reward. If you land something, you get a lot out of it, very big benefit, whereas
That's true.
Senix have a lot more sort of AoE.
Yeah. And their composition is built around team play as well, like Athena, Guan, and Hunbats. Utility based, I should say.
Yeah. Well, Tilt is in focus in doing stuff like this. Rocketeer jumping in with a ring of spears, gonna be zoning out the healer. Three-man Cataclysm's gonna do a fair bit of damage. There's a big Darkest of Nights with the Fear No Evil for a lot of stuns. Easy getting the kill. Shocks, Scutsy getting the kill of their own as well. Delchu's gonna get his as well. Where is the kill for Royal?
That is 4 for nothing. Questionable decision once again as through space and time. Beautiful by Chew. That was just a sick combo.
That was in the side of the face.
Ultimate. This is going to be the Titan. This will be the game for Senix, leading 1-0 in this series. 15-7, 29 minutes, 51 seconds into the game. And Hunbats and Shibalanke did not die at all in that game.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, Shibalanke only got 1 kill. Easy, he did a lot of work there, especially in the end. Great recognition of combos. Because everyone was moving with the Fear No Evil Fear, everyone got stunned out from the Darkest of Nights, and it was just absolutely perfect. Tilt were in a position where they could re-engage and try and go back in for an absolute blitz burst amount of damage, but they couldn't see anything. Communication was cut off completely, vision was cut off, movement was cut off, and then everyone just got a kill.
I think big props to Ryol in the end there as well, because as Athena, he zoned out 4 members of Tilt, while Gib blinked for the Cataclysm trying to initiate. That was really, really well played there.
Yeah, Senix game number 1 there. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break as we come back for game number 2 to see how the rest of this set plays out.